push the record button. Here we go. We're pushing the record button. Que onda, my sisters and brothers? Thank you for being with us this afternoon on the Movement Es Medicina Podcast. I am SuperMarkRock, and this is Movement Es Medicina. Movement Es Medicina is more than just a movimiento. It's a movement aiming to move and motivate gente, the people, the community, to build healthy habits and rituals, speaking to you. You guessed it. Mi gente, the people. Specifically, my A1s, my hermanas and hermanos, by exploring their active lifestyles in the process. Today, I am joined by Rosy Escandón. Hi, Amorcita. I appreciate you making time for this episode of our premiere Movement Es Medicina podcast. My guest is my partner, my best friend, my lovely wife, Rosy Escandón. I'm going to take a moment and read her bio. Chingona. Really? That's all you put on the bio of our premiere podcast? It's chingona?
I mean,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's all it says on our bio. Chingona. Look at that.
I didn't
Wow.
give you that, but I'll take it.
You'll take it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, who are you? What's your story? Share with us. Tell the audience, tell our people who Rosy Escandón is.
Well, I am. You knew this moment was going to come, and I didn't realize how. I mean, I am emotional. I lead with emotion
Yes, you do.
most times. But I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for having me. To be at the onset of this, at the beginning, this has been in the works for some time, and it takes a lot of courage to get here.
Mm.
And so to that, I say I am your number one cheerleader. I will keep supporting you. I know the value behind this. I know that you have a story and that it needs to be told. And I am your wife.
You are my wife. You are my partner. Yes.
I am also a sister. I am a daughter. I am so many different things to so many different people. I'm one of those people that keeps giving. I'm a supporter. I'm a helper. I always, when you want to be heard, helped, or hugged, I'm always the one that you come to be helped, because I will have a solution for whatever you need help with. I'm a CEO, CFO, COO of our household and our business and of our life. But most of all, I am excited that this is taking off and that I get to be at the front line of this and seeing it all come to fruition.
Yes, you've been here since day one. Since day one, since this was a brainchild of ours. We've had a lot of support, a lot of love and advocacy for us to start this. And here we are. We finally hit the record button. Thank you to all those who said, hit the record button, hit the record button. Here we are, hitting the record
Me
button.
being the first one.
You were the first one to say so. So let's get into some questions. Let's get into our conversation, shall we? Around Movement Es Medicina.
Okay, let's do it.
So we are big wellness advocates, movement enthusiasts, pushers, if you will, of fitness and all things health related. But it was you in our relationship. It was you who were the avid mover. How did that begin for you? When did you say that, you know what, I need to do something for my health, whether it was mental, physical, spiritual, financial? You came into our relationship already in that space. What was it for you that really was that driving factor?
I would have to say there wasn't necessarily one factor. I think I've known I've always been a learner, not just am I an educator at heart, but I really enjoy learning. And I think along the road somewhere, I was learning about what it meant to be healthy, what were healthy habits and rituals. And I knew that I had to do certain things. I knew that I had to be active to be healthy. My grandparents, they lived well into their 80s and they didn't necessarily have healthy habits. But if I could have them for a day longer, I would have. And perhaps that's what I'm trying to do, be here longer for those that I love.
And I appreciate that because so many of our elders did not practice healthy lifestyles or build healthy rituals. They did the best that they could
Yeah,
with what they had. I know in my family, they really didn't push exercise. While we are a big sports family, both of our families are huge into sports,
they're
football,
sports fans.
sports fans, right? But even
Yeah.
growing up playing sports, many of us did. But it was for the joy, it was for the communal aspect of it, not necessarily for the wellness pieces of that. And so I think you bringing that to our relationship from the onset of building healthy rituals, healthy habits into our lives, whether it was eating right, exercising, learning, as both of us, are lifelong learners and educators, but always trying to grow and improve our lives, not only as both as individuals, but collectively. So I appreciate that. And share with me, I mean, I know this leads into my next question for you. We often talked about remember your why. Recuerda tu por qué. And you began to speak a little bit about, your grandparents and being exposed to their longevity, but that lifestyle being with them. We often speak to this, our family, our why. Why have you decided to show up for yourself? Why do you meditate? Why do you continue to work out? Why do you go for walks? Why you eat clean? Why you do what you do? What is your porqué?
I think at the core of that is me. As I mentioned earlier, I like to do for others. And I can't do that if I don't take care of myself. And you know this as well as I do that my journey takes different routes, takes different, there's sometimes a lull, sometimes there's a peak, and I think that's just life itself. But at the end of the day, I know that these things are good for me. And we don't always do what's good for us. We don't always do what's best, but we can keep doing for others. We can keep being present. We really value our family. We really value our nieces and nephews, and we want to be there for them. And how do we do that if we can't get up off the couch? If we, I think about so many people who can't do that. And I don't want to be in that position. I want to be able to get up on my own until the last possible moment, right? And so I think at the root of that, it's me. And then it's for us. And our our community, it starts stretching into our community and our family because I want to be here and love them as long as I can.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we have to prioritize self
Yeah.
and take care of self first. I mean, if we are not fully healed, charged, able-bodied, happy energy, how can we care for others? How can we care about our village, our circle, our community, our familia, uh, all the above? If we are not healthy,
Mhm.
physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, we have to prioritize self first. So, how do you share that with others? How do you relay to our community, to our village, to our family? the necessity to prioritize health, to prioritize self and our health, when often, especially the communities that we come from, brown communities, Mexicano communities, Chicano communities, Latino communities, that we don't do it enough. We hear this time and time again, but we've been in these spaces. How do you share with others?
I think it's more leading by example. Oftentimes, people reject being told, hey, you need to do this. In my training as a teacher, I I I did a lot of professional development,
Mhm.
and I still have in my mind one little tidbit. I mean, there's many, of course, but one that stands out to me in this particular situation is that if I tell you, don't do something, and the example was, don't think of a giant pink gorilla, immediately in your mind, you're going to see a giant pink gorilla because our brains are not wired to hear the negative. So if I want you to not do something, I I I should say don't.
Mhm.
Um, and I think keeping things on the positive, it's better to say, hey, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Something that's worked for me, right? You kind of set some of those examples, and this is what has worked, this is what hasn't worked for me,
Mhm.
and what have you tried? But as people see you trying new things, they're likely to ask about it. They're likely to say, hey, what are you doing? I saw something different, or I see, you're this way or that way. And if it's related to something a practice that I have, a routine that I have, whether it's my meditation or whether it's my walks or hikes or any of those, then I can share that.
Mhm.
But when you're a pusher, sometimes that's uh, it's not necessarily something that people
Mhm.
are willing to take on.
Shout out to our old school pusher click in the Peloton community. That's right. I mean, we do push health and push wellness and push movement on our people, on our gente. People have often come to you and the plans that you've created,
The elaborate plan.
elaborate plans you've created, connecting Peloton classes to various instructors and muscle groups and cardio workouts. I mean, they are elaborate. You really need to ask Rosie for her spreadsheets. She does love a spreadsheet. Well, another day, another story for another day for that one. But people do come to you and look to you, I would say, as you are role modeling behavior. I think not only because of your multi-passionate in the way you approach wellness, the way you approach fitness, but I think folks look to you, our gente look to you as a role model because we're constantly evolving and growing. I think that's something we take pride in, that we don't stay stagnant. We're always trying new things. We're always trying new modalities, whether it is in wellness, whether it is in nutrition, whether it is in exercises. We're constantly exploring and trying to become stronger, become healthier, but to continue to become the best versions of ourselves. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, I absolutely. And I think nothing is a straight, narrow path
Mhm.
from point A to point B. Doesn't matter whether it's your career, your health, anything that you decide to take on. We have to keep that in mind, and we have to, along the line, my mom always says, in marriage especially, is you take the things that worked well in each of your families and you bring them together to make your own. And I think in this situation as well is it- you the things that you've learned along the path is like, well, we've tried being vegan for a year and found that whatever weight you lost in that process, I gained. So I said, you know what, I need to integrate meat back into my diet. and I felt different. I felt better. Not that I felt poorly, but I just didn't feel comfortable in my body being overweight. And the thing is that what works for you is not always going to work for me, and vice versa. But we take some of those learnings along the way, whether it was, it's limiting our carbs, limiting our sugar. And I think carbs, there's good carbs out there and we should keep those in mind. Um, Keeping some of those things in mind is really important. It's like saying, okay, well, this worked, this didn't, and now we arrive at this. And from there, we might find that we need to tweak some things, and we keep evolving, we keep changing and making adjustments as needed for what's working for us.
Mhm.
Um, like meal planning and cooking for the week and not having to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I want to do other things besides cook. I love it, but I want to do other things. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. I I know both of us have heard, especially from individuals in our village, in our community, even in our families, that I don't have time to focus on wellness, fitness, prayer, attending to self. How do you do it? How do you prioritize what is important in your life? Wellness, fitness, career, familia, etc. How do you do it?
I mean, we're blessed to have a lot of autonomy. Being entrepreneurs, working for ourselves allows us the flexibility of making making our time work for us, for our health. We can say, hey, this is what we're going to eat and prepare our meals in that way, whether it's going to be organic or not organic, whether it's going to be, uh, eliminate dairy, sugar, and gluten. We can make those choices because we do have that flexibility of it just being the two of us. When you have a family that you have to feed, just other than two people or one person, it can get a little bit harder to make those decisions. But I think it's trying to make small changes over time that will help you and the rest of your family. I think it's really kind of taking a look at what's important to me and what I want to do and doing it. But I realize that not everyone has that opportunity, but can by making some of those small changes, a little bit at a time.
Small changes. Small changes. Absolutely. Don't have to, we do not have to uh, go on these ridiculous diets or crazy health fads, if you will. I think that's a misconception that a lot of folks have is that they go all in, spend all this money, and expect immediate results when little changes over time.
Over time.
Over
Yeah,
time.
you're a good example of that.
How?
How? I mean, you went for a walk one day,
I did. I did. I did.
and next thing you know, you're running marathons. And that did not happen overnight. That was a little bit at a time, one day at a time, a little bit longer walk, a little bit faster, right? Those kinds of things. But it's not about you right now, it's about me.
Thank you. So where do you see, speaking of uh, my journey, the journey we are on together in Movement Es Medicina, uh, where do you see Movement Es Medicina going? Live it, we preach it, we push it on individuals, but others have joined us in this journey of Movement Es Medicina, and practicing this philosophy, this mantra, if you will. Where do you see Medicina going?
You know, I see the potential for it to be great things in lots of different ways. It's already grown. Your community, your reach, uh, you know, I mean, we go to events and people recognize you and they're like, oh yeah, your movement is medicina.
Mhm.
So I can see that continuing to grow as a community, um, continuing to be able to provide a space for people to come and learn, um, a place where they might get advice, they might get, I could see it turning into potentially some courses, but I could see, hopefully by the time this publishes, we'll have a site up for some merch. But that's sort of the low hanging fruit. I think the future and sort of the higher level fruit is the community, being able to have a community across the country and potentially internationally. Uh, since you run in Mexico City marathons and build community there. Uh, I still have that memory not that long ago, January, when you're out
I got
running,
lost.
when you got lost
Mexico City.
and suddenly you're in a air tram and you're FaceTiming me with your new friends. So as long as you keep running, your community is going to keep growing.
Thank you. So, last question I have for you, formal question. What words of wisdom do you have for others who have not begun their wellness journey yet? What would you like to tell them?
I would like to say, just start with small changes, as I mentioned earlier. Start with, you know what, I'm going to change something that I eat. I'm not going to eat certain things or limit certain things for so many days a week, and give yourself some freedoms to explore what that feels like and let those changes start to impact, to start to feel what that is. Um, but I think it's over time. It takes a little bit of time, and change in our bodies typically does not happen overnight. Stay positive and curious to look at what will work for you, because not everything works for everyone. You've got to find that activity you enjoy. What is that? Do you enjoy cooking or do you want to learn to cook? Um, different things like that. What is going to make a difference in you and the change you're looking for?
What's working for you? What modalities do you like to engage in?
You know, I I used to run. There was a season for that for me. And now, um, because of the age demographic I'm approaching, I'm looking to do more strength training, hikes, and continue my meditations. I do a meditation every night, and I need to start my day with meditation as well. But continue those things. We need, as women, when we go into menopause, we lose 1/3 of our bone density mass. That's not something we have control over, but we have control over how we respond to that, how we are stronger in other ways to help, um, sort of counteract that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what I would say. I would say, like, for me, that's what's been working. That's what I plan on, and that might change a year from now or 2 years from now, but the research and what works for women in my age group. So
So may I add a friendly suggestion?
please.
Let's pick up stretching a little more. Just a little bit. Put some stretching in your life. Pre-workout, post-workout. Yeah,
I-
let's start
I will
start small,
stretch.
right?
I will stretch what I need to stretch
Okay.
when I need to stretch. Okay.
All right. So lightning round questions for you. a few questions, some fun ones. All right.
Yeah, okay.
So quick response. Don't give too much thought about it. All right. Just
Mhm.
answer.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl, 1000%.
Okay. Okay. R&B or hip hop?
Let's say hip hop.
Really? Oh, your love for New Edition and I'll be sure and you're gonna go hip hop.
Well,
Okay, no judgment, no judgment. I appreciate it as a hip hop fan. I appreciate it. Okay.
I
Hip hop.
mean, but
No, no, don't get too much done. Don't get too
on
much done.
another level.
Don't get
I
too much. I
mean,
appreciate your response. Thank you.
uh-huh,
Tacos or pizza?
tacos.
Okay. Transformers or G.I. Joe?
I would have to say GI Joe. There, when we moved to Arizona in 1986, um, my dad, my brother, and I, anytime the family would go shopping, we would pick up some GI Joes and we had boxes of them. I had my own set, my brother had his own set, my dad had his own set.
Mm.
My mom was just there for the shopping. She wasn't there to interact with it, but yeah, GI Joes, yes,
Tequila or mezcal?
both. I mean, it's not one or the other.
Okay. What would you go back and tell your 21-year-old self?
Don't drink so much and invest sooner.
Invest sooner. Any book recommendations?
Oh, book recommendations. I mean, it depends on the topic.
Give me three,
Okay, this is my real nerdy self.
please.
It's a book on tax strategies for real estate investors. That's a 2-set book series. Does that count as two?
Nope.
Another one is We Should All Be Millionaires.
Okay.
That's another good one. And I'm really into gardening right now.
Tell me about it.
I know you know this, but I'm really enjoying gardening. I think it's called 5-minute gardening. Basically, there's little things you can do every day for 5 minutes a day, so it doesn't get so overwhelming.
All right. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, Amorcita, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your perspective. And of course, I appreciate your ongoing support, coaching, encouragement, being my cheerleader and being in my corner. Gracias. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
We hit the record button.
We did.
Yes.
We did.
Yes. So, muchísimas gracias for joining me on the Movement Es Medicina podcast. Rosy, where can we follow you? Where can we find you?
On IG at Get It Rosy. That's pretty much where I spend most of my time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Again, gracias for your insight, for our conversation. Thank you all for subscribing, for listening to Rosie and I, our journey, a bit about us, a bit about Movement Es Medicina. But we appreciate your ongoing support as well and being a part of our community, being a part of our village, being a part of our familia. Recognize your dopeness in the process. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Movement Es Medicina. You can find me at SuperMarkRock on IG. Look forward to hearing from you. Your email, your questions, your feedback is much appreciated. Gracias. Peace, mi gente.